Here's a fun one. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been the best-selling video game in the US for each of its first 3 weeks in market, according to Circana's retail tracking service, Sales latest data through April 5th, currently ranked second year-to-date, trailing only Monster Hunter Wilds.
What's up everyone, this is the Ackman here. It is a tragic day for all Assassin's Creed Shadows haters.
Rev says Desu is spitting from his ceiling fan right now.
I see your daily posts about me are getting increasingly unhinged. For someone as obsessed with me as you, I'm surprised you don't know my basic take on this. I always said that Assassin's Creed Shadows sales will be good. I estimated 5 to 8 million copies in the first month. I just said the negative PR would further prevent these numbers from saving Ubisoft from a buyout or major restructuring. Which is exactly what happened. Their stock is at an all-time low and they sold off their most lucrative IPs. I would never lose sleep over the sales numbers of a corporation, good or bad, let alone neck myself over it. This is a very weird post, man, even for you.
Baby? No, stop! Oh, okay.
You know, I was thinking of moving away from making videos covering Rev for a bit after what I assumed were weeks of nothing burger stories. But after a recent back and forth between Twink Desu and an individual named Kazu, I couldn't help myself and just had to get back into cooking up some more Rev salt. So yeah, this is mostly going to be a compilation from multiple of Rev's videos covering AC Shadows, along with a few of his Twitter posts where I point out the flaws in his own arguments.
Now, there's other people trying to spin these numbers in a positive way for Ubisoft, including Dexerto, because of course, Dexerto is going to shill for Ubisoft. They say this: Assassin's Creed Shadows becomes biggest Steam release in AC franchise history with 64,000 concurrent players, which is again pretty misleading when you have games like Valhalla that didn't release on Steam until 2 years after the game launched on console. And if you look at some examples here, right, so people are putting big weight on Steam numbers here. And of course, if you point out the numbers compared to other games, all of a sudden Steam numbers don't matter. But in this case, according to people supporting this Steam number really matters. These Steam statistics, they really matter. And Ubisoft, through their Assassin's Creed Shadows accounts, have been sharing certain information, like if they're the #1 seller, right? Well, you can do that and twist that to basically make anything look really good. So,
hey Rev, this you?
Ubisoft insinuated that their player count for Assassin's Creed Shadows would increase as the day went on. However, as we've reached the 24-hour mark since release, the player count on Steam has continued to decrease. Wait for the weekend. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Of course, Steam does represent all of Shadows' players, but it's a microcosm of the overall fan base. Not only are the Steam numbers disappointing, they're already dipping less than a week after release. That's not normal for a blockbuster AAA Assassin's Creed release like this. Same people who will claim TDB numbers don't matter, and yes, we all know those numbers don't represent all of AC Shadows' players. But they are a representative sample size of the total player base that lost interest quickly.
At this point, the script just writes itself. Given that all you've been doing these past few weeks when talking about this game is use Steam charts to push this strawman argument that AC Shadows was a flop. So yeah, SteamDB only matters when it suits whatever narrative you're trying to push.
here's a great example. Yasuke Simulator. This was a wild slop game, let's be honest, that was created out of the outrage surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, you have Yasuke here mowing people down with guns and AK-47s. Like, it's a complete meme of a game, but it got a lot of attention because people were looking at a way to show how ridiculous this game is and its reception. And as you can see, thanks to, in part, a stream by Asmongold, yesterday Yasuke Simulator had more viewers on Twitch than Assassin's Creed Shadows. Number one, showing the influence of someone like Asmongold, by the way, but
for the love of God, drop the meat!
Looking at the two, and like, how does this happen? And if you look again, if you want to consider some titles on SteamDB to be something you can share right now, on the hot list here, Yasuke Simulator is number 1 with a 92% rating. That is pretty crazy. And the reason I point this out again is because some of these titles would be used by Ubisoft if they could. If this was Assassin's Creed Shadows at number 1, they would be using this and posting a screenshot of it because they're trying to create this idea that Steam is really important, but only when it's serving them in a positive way or a positive spin they can make out of it. Also, I see people say, well, wait a second, Yasuke Simulator, it has like 200 players right now. Well, yes, besides the fact it is a meme game that you can complete in less than an hour, it's not about that. It's to show the amount of mobilization people can have for something like this in response to the disappointment directed towards Ubisoft and Shadows.
Really, Rev? Are we seriously using Twitch viewerships to measure a game's sales and whether or not it was a commercial success? What sort of dumbass argument is this? Oh look, more people on Twitch watched a handful of morons playing the meme game because the Cockroach Man boosted it. Also, have you seen the clips of Asmongold saying that he enjoyed the game and that he was disappointed that he couldn't shit on it even more? What am I saying, dude? Of course you have. But you won't ever address those because it hurts your little narrative.
But looking at the numbers of Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's going down. And if I refresh the page right now, yep, it goes down again. This was in the last like 10 minutes. It's just dropping off because it's already reached a peak for the day. And right now, 41,000 in-game players. We're not even a week into release. That's not good. And again, people say, well, wait a second. They have a lot of other sources than players coming through on Steam. Of course they do.
Yeah, it's called other game launchers, consoles, and subscription services, you moron.
But comparatively to other games, this is not good. And comparing it to its own numbers on this release, there's some concerning things. Like the fact that we likely already reached the all-time high in terms of concurrent players on Sunday. And here's today. This is the next day. Now it's 44,000. It went from 64,000 to 44,000. The peak went down by 20,000. I mean, that's really concerning. That's like more than a 25% drop in your peak player count over the course of a day.
Do you even process what you say before you say it? Because you sound fucking stupid.
Oh my god, you just contradicted your own straw man argument about SteamDB within the span of a minute. Which is it, Rev? Are Steam charts a viable metric or not? Bro seriously has only 2 functioning brain cells in that tiny skull of his, and somehow they're both fighting for 3rd place.
So here's the headline for today's video. Ubisoft and Tencent create standalone subsidiary for Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. Tencent has invested 1.16 billion euros into the new group and owns a 25% stake. Now that is a very big development. Of course, Ubisoft is still alive and well. Don't misinterpret that.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
But basically what's happening here is you have this daughter company that's been made using the most popular games out of the Ubisoft lineup here. And basically it's like a loan shark with Tencent giving out a large sum of money to get a very big interest as well as assets from Ubisoft, who's like the gambling addict, who believes just one more try, and things will get better. But of course, Tencent is taking advantage of the situation to get these very valuable IPs at a very good cost for them. I mean, seriously, it's a loan shark type situation, but the writing was on the walls for a very long time, okay? Don't be fooled. The people inside of Ubisoft, as well as Tencent and other insiders, they probably knew Shadows was going to fail all along. I mean, who are we kidding, right? So you have a long line of failures leading into Shadows. They probably already knew the pre-order numbers were garbage, and they just said this is going under. Unless they can do something absolutely amazing, they were probably already preparing for this investment over at Tencent into Ubisoft.
Dude is admitting that Ubisoft had this coming for a long time, yet is still trying to pin the blame onto Shadows, despite the fact that it's the 2nd best-selling AC game since Valhalla. which came out during COVID, back when the gaming industry was booming due to the lockdowns. Only way this game was going to save Ubisoft from all the bad calls it made over the years was if Shadows sold in its first month, what GTA sold in its lifetime, which nobody in their right mind was expecting.
But look at this tweet. The Assassin's Creed Shadows quote-unquote controversy is literally just right-wingers doing their own Hogwarts Legacy boycott. It's going to be hilarious to see if it fails just as hard. Very weird comparison and not a very good one, because Hogwarts Legacy sold over 30 million units, not players, units, and by the most generous of predictions, Ubisoft would be very lucky to have a fraction of that when this is all over. But the comparison to Hogwarts Legacy is also even more ridiculous because channels like my own, this isn't a right-wing thing. This is just criticizing Ubisoft and informing consumers about what's going on with this game and the company. You're allowing people to make informed decisions for themselves once they've seen the greater picture of this game. I don't care if someone buys Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's within their right to, and I know a lot of people don't care about controversy and they're gonna buy it no matter what. That's fine. It's their choice.
Dude, the reason why people are comparing this to Hogwarts Legacy is because you anti-woke grifters are making a mountain out of molehills, all because the game has a black samurai in it. That and because all you gaming tourists are getting offended on behalf of Japanese people. The same way the slacktivists were getting offended on behalf of trans people during the Hogwarts Legacy boycott. Also, bitch please, you and I both know that this is 100% a grift you're doing for clicks and views, given how many videos you made on this game before and after release. And now that you and all of these other anti-woke grifters have been proven wrong, you want to backpedal and pretend you never said that this game was going to be a commercial failure. Nah dude, sit your ass down and eat the humble pie, pussy.
This is how it all began with the Twitter feud here. It began with Grums, aka Mark Kern, a former team lead at Blizzard, saying this: you can tell a lot about Ubisoft with how much money they're throwing at terrorist platforming streamers, referring to Hassan Piker, who was paid to promote this game. And then Elon Musk, of all people, responds by saying Hassan is a fraud, and then adds on, sellout would be more accurate. Objectively, he is promoting a terrible game just for the money. And then the official Assassin's Creed account replies to that saying, is that what the guy playing your Path of Exile 2 account told you? Getting 600,000 likes, by the way. Then Mark Kern replies that with this article saying Assassin's Creed Shadows isn't the hit Ubisoft desperately needs, analyst says. And then the Assassin's Creed account replies again saying, our game is out, referring to the fact that Mark Kern has a crowdfunded game that he has not completed yet.
The intern at Ubisoft be like, I also really love how you're still glazing up Grums, despite all the countless exposés documenting how much of a fraud and scammer the man is. Doesn't help that you also pathetically tried to ratio Ubisoft with this gem of a tweet and failed miserably.
So is Schedule 1.
You stupid fuck.
Sure, buddy. Let's ignore the fact that AC Shadows is available on other launchers, consoles, subscription services, and that Schedule 1 is only available on Steam. All you accomplished with this tweet is making yourself look like a complete dumbass. Doubly so, given that you're out here trying to defend Yondev 2.0, and that Steam charts only matter when it suits whatever narrative you're trying to push.
You don't get to pretend like I took this too far when you say insanely insensitive and cruel things towards and about everyone who disagrees with you. Don't act like you give the slightest fuck about someone being edgy.
Fence-Sitter has no counter-argument other than appealing to emotion after wanting me to neck over their misinformed opinion about my takes involving a video game. Predictable.
Appealing to emotion? Seriously, Rev? Of all the hills to die on, this is the one you chose? You know what? Fine, buddy. More content for me.
Spineless. If you want to be edgy, at least stand by it.
They got me! days later.
Deleted my previous post. After thinking about it, I do think it was wrong for me to be so aggressive in my post. I didn't like the joke at all, but I don't want to contribute to dogpiling on Innis. It's been a tough day for me. It's not an excuse, but I was just a bit hypersensitive on the subject. I apologize to Innis K.
You're a beta male.
Rev.
Innis' joke was disrespectful. That's my opinion, and it isn't changing. I also don't really do edgy jokes, but even if I did, I would think that there are lines people shouldn't cross. That's my opinion. Rev shouldn't have made his tweet. That's also my opinion. I don't think it was right. I know many people think I agree with every single thing he does, but I don't. I do think he was angry and upset, largely because of people being rude to me about it all day in the replies. But regardless, I don't think Innis deserves threats or anything of the sort sent her way, and I would never condone that. And Rev wouldn't either. We don't always handle things the same way, but I want to make it clear how I feel. That being said, I love my husband. He's a good man. He has flaws. He is human. The internet makes things harder. We don't look at each other as real people sometimes. We should all remember that there are real people on the other side of the screen. God bless you all, and good night.
Human, after all. I'm only human, after all. Don't put the blame on me.
You know what's really funny? This entire segment that has absolutely nothing to do with AC Shadows was never part of the original script. I literally had to go back mid-editing just to add this part in because it was low-key too funny to ignore. That and the fact that I finally have a reason to talk about Rev's wife and how much of a bitch she actually is as well. Rev, you're an outrage merchant. Your entire presence on YouTube is built on appealing to emotions by manufacturing outrage and covering petty drama. So don't give me this appealing to emotion crap when you and your dumbass wife constantly contribute to dogpiling. Then cry and play victim whenever you face any semblance of pushback. You and Straub really are a match made in hell. You're both massive cryboys with wet spaghetti noodles for spines. Anyways, what were we talking about before all this? Alright, Assassin's Creed Shadows. In short, Assassin's Creed Shadows isn't perfect. Far from it. And it has problems from both a narrative and technical standpoint. Not to mention all the marketing fumbles it had pre-release and how that shit was a complete circus. But if you actually gave two fucks and a shit about gaming and wanted to inform your viewers about this game, you talk about stuff that actually matters. Like how the story feels half-baked and ends on a cliffhanger that reeks of DLC, the bugs, the microtransactions, the shitty battle pass system in a goddamn single player game. Hell, I'll even toss you Anti-Woke Warriors a bone for once and agree that Yasuke is a token character whose involvement in the story could easily be replaced or removed altogether with a few rewrites. But no, Rev. Instead, all you focus on are Steam charts and Ubisoft's dwindling stock, which nobody cares about except for Ubisoft and you culture war warriors for some strange reason. You don't actually care about gaming, Rev. Let's not kid ourselves about that. All you care about is manufacturing outrage for a quick bag because you're a talentless fraud with no original thoughts, let alone ideas. Anyways, hopefully this will be the last video I make on Rev until my editor gets back to me so I can finally get to line editing Volume 2 of Blood Wench. Until then, consider checking out Volume 1. Link to my Amazon store page will be in the description. With that said, later.